All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to day 7 of our course. And I hope few of you at least have seen the project which we had created and uploaded in Google Drive. And if you have not seen, so I will share my screen again and I will give you an overview of what we had covered in the last class and we will move forward from there. Let me share my screen. Anyone please confirm if you are able to see my screen or not?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So let me open SOAP UI. So in last class, we were looking at the script, right, in automated test case. So again, I will tell you once again, we had created a project, we had added a definition as per the Swagger Hub, right? And we had created a test suite. And inside the test suite, now we are creating an automated test suite, right? And we have already added fewer steps for that. So what steps we have added? We have created one properties step. In that, we are writing the name of the environment in which we are testing our API, the endpoint of that URL, and the seed name from where we will input the data to run this automation, right? So this was the properties step we had added. After that, we had created one script. We had given it a name, data source. We had imported all the libraries and classes needed to write our script, okay? And then the first thing is we had created one Groovy util object, okay? By referencing Groovy util library so that we can use the functions available inside the Groovy library. And with the help of that Groovy util object, we have read the project path. So wherever our project was saved, so for us, our project was saved, suppose in the demo folder, okay? Inside demo folder, we had demo project.xml. So what is the project directory then? The directory is inside demo folder, right? So project is inside demo folder. So demo folder must be having some path, right? So it is right now in this drive, Salish Singh, then FWIC training, and inside this demo. So the entire path is the project directory, which we read with the help of Groovy util object. And we have stored that path inside one variable, which we have defined as project directory. Okay. DEF is a way to define a variable in Groovy. So whatever is the data type, it will get saved in the same data type if you are not further clarifying what is the data type. You can define it as a string, integer, anything, okay? But if you are not sure about the data type, you can keep it as def, define, okay? After that, we read the properties environment. We have created one environment property here, right? In the properties step. So we are reading what is the environment. So you can see that how I have read that. This is a way in Groovy to read the properties of another test step inside the same test case. So our test case is automated test case, and we have different test steps inside this, right? See, these are test steps. So if you are in data source Groovy, and if you want to read the properties of any other test step, you have to read like this, context.expand, and then in bracket, you have to pass which step and which property you want to read. So we wanted to read the environment property inside properties step. So see what we have done. In the bracket, we have written, so this is the syntax how to read the property, okay? So dollar mark, curly braces, the name of the step, hash mark, and then the property name inside that property, right? After that, I have told you, if you want to print anything in the log, we have a few statements, okay? So we have log.info, okay? So log.info, what it will do? Log.info will print whatever you want to print in the log. So here we want to print environment is, and we are reading this variable now where we had stored our environment name. So it will print environment is SIT, right? Because the value and properties environment is SIT, correct? Then we are creating one more variable, data folder. Inside in data folder, we are storing the data source path. So project directory we have already read, right? See, if you remember, we have read the project directory path. So inside project directory path, what is the path of our data source? Inside demo folder, we have a data subfolder. In the data subfolder, we have SIT subfolder, and inside SIT folder, we have our data source. So we have to pass the project directory, that means demo folder, and this is a concatenation mark, okay? If you have to concatenate two values, you have to use this plus sign in Groovy, okay? After that, we want data folder. So we passed slash data slash, and after that, SIT folder. You remember what is the hierarchy? Data, after data, environment, SIT, right? So that's what we have passed. So now our data folder variable will store the entire path of the data source XLS folder, right? This file, where this file is, it is inside SIT folder, right? SIT is inside data folder, data is inside demo folder, right? So now we have the entire path. Then we created one file instance, right? This is a class, okay? This is a class file. We are creating one object, file object. We have given it a name Excel file, and we are reading our file there, okay? And we are storing the reference of that data source XLS in this variable. Got it? Then what type of file that is? I last asked this question last time also. What type of file this is? Anyone?
Excel.
Excel, okay? In the language, in a scripting language, we call Excel as workbook, okay? So now we have to tell our script, the file which we are reading is a workbook. So get the workbook out of that file, right? So what we have done is we have created one more variable, WB, one object actually, WB of what type? Workbook, okay? Workbook type. See the file also we have created file, and then we had given the name Excel file, right? Same way workbook, then we have given one name WB is equal to workbook, get workbook at which place? At this file place, right? Wherever this file is, get the workbook from there. So now we have created one instance for our workbook as well. After getting the workbook, we again went to our Excel sheet and we saw there can be multiple sheets, right? See at the bottom, there can be multiple sheets. So which sheet we want to refer? We want to refer get customer info, correct? So we are again creating. So first of all, we have created one more variable to store the value of input data sheet. So you remember in properties, we have created one sheet name, right? Get customer info. So we have to read this again, right? So we have created one variable for this, and we are again reading context.expand, and inside the bracket dollar curly braces properties has sheet name. So we are going inside properties step, and we are reading the sheet name value. What is the name value? Get customer info. So it will get saved in the input data sheet. And now again, we are creating one object of sheet type. We have given it a name sheet only. And then inside the workbook, we are going and getting the sheet, get sheet with the name input data sheet. Now we can use the entire sheet inside our script. Then I told you to create the variables to read the values in the Excel sheet. So what values we had in the Excel sheet? Remember, mobile number, consumer ID. These are the input parameters of our API. Remember our scenario step? What are the input parameters there? Mobile number, customer ID. So to run this test case, we need these two data, correct? Then we will get a response. In response, you have to do the assertion, validation, right? Whether you are getting the correct HTTP status code, correct customer ID, correct date of birth, and if it is a negative scenario, whether you are getting correct error code and error description or not, right? That is the purpose of your automation, right? Which you were doing manually earlier. In manual test case, what we were doing? We were running our test case. Let me run the service once. In manual test case, what we had done? We ran each step manually. We passed mobile number, consumer ID, we triggered the service, we got the response, right? And then we did the validation, whether mobile number is same or not, whatever we have passed, whether customer ID is coming correctly or not, whether DOB is in correct format or not, right? This we did manually. Now we are trying to automate the entire thing, correct? So we have to read the expected value and the input parameters. So that's what we have to read from this Excel sheet. These many fields we have to read and store in the script. So for storing the script, we need variables. So for each field which you want to read, first of all, you need to identify how many rows are there in your sheet. What is row? These are rows. One row, second row, third row, fourth row, like this. So how many test cases are there? How many times you want to run your automation? So we have 9 test cases. So 9 times your automation should run, right? But how many rows are there total?
Nine.
10.
And
The
total
first
rows
row
and
is
cases 9.
header. This is the header,
It will be
right?
-1.
Yes, so that's why we created one variable, and now here you can see what is the data type? int,
Integer.
integer. You can keep it as def also, okay? If you are not sure about what is the data type, you can keep it as def as well, not a problem. But if you want to further clarify what is the data type, you can write int. Okay, so we have created one integer data type variable and we have read the number of rows from there and subtracted 1 from that. Okay, so now we have got the number of test cases, total test. This name you can give any name, okay? So I have just kept it as the total test. You can keep it XYZ. That doesn't matter, okay? Then I have created one test number. So at which iteration our current test is, okay? To store that. So suppose our cursor is at fourth test case is running, right? So we want to know that. So we have created one variable to store the number of test cases also, right? At which number we are currently. Then we are defining a variable to read everything from Excel sheet. So what we have in Excel sheet? Test case ID, test case name. When you will run any test case, how you will know which test case ran and which output came, right? You need the test case ID for that and test case name, right? Something you need to identify, right?
Yes.
So we have created test case ID and test case name variable. Then based on the test case type, we will validate whether we have to validate customer ID validation or error code. Will you get error code in positive scenario?
No.
No, right? Were you able to see error code anywhere
No.
here?
No.
Nope.
No, right? So when error code will come?
When there is a defect.
When, no, not defect, man. When we will pass the just the negative scenarios, right? What is negative scenario? Where you will get a proper error message. Here you have got the error code, right?
Yeah. Got it.
For negative scenario. So how many type of test cases are there? Two, right? Positive scenario,
Negative.
negative scenario. Correct? Positive scenario, you have tested the functionality of the API for what it was developed. In negative scenario, you are testing if the user is making any mistake, whether he is getting a proper response or not, that what mistake he has done, right? That is a negative scenario. When you try to log in into any page, you put a wrong password, you get, right, the message that the password is not correct. When you try to create a password for yourself, if you don't put a proper password, you see a message that there should be a capital letter, there should be a small letter, there should be a number and a special character in your password, right? Have you observed this?
Yes.
Yes. So that is a negative scenario, right? The API was not developed to show you all those things. It is developed to give you a proper response. But if user makes a mistake while accessing the application, he should be presented with a proper error message so that next time when you attempt, you should rectify all your mistakes, right? So to handle those scenarios, we call it as negative scenario. So based on that, we have created one test type in our Excel sheet. What type of test it is, whether it is positive or negative, right? If it is positive, our script should only validate the customer ID DOB. If it is negative, then our script should validate error code and error description. Correct? You got it? Why we have classified it in positive and negative? Because the assertion and validation will be different for positive test case and negative test case. Are you getting it or not?
Yes, we are getting it.
Yes.
Yes.
So for that only in our script, we have created one more variable test type. We will read it from the Excel sheet, okay? And then mobile number, you already know that we are reading from Excel sheet. Consumer ID is there. Expected HTTP status code is there. Customer ID is there. Date of birth is there. Error code is there. And error description is there, right? But our script does not know at which position, in which column these values are. So for that, we will define at which index they are, okay? So we are creating variable like index mobile number, and mobile number is at which index in our Excel sheet? 0. I have told you that in script, everything starts, the index starts with 0, not from 1, okay? Everything starts with 0. So this is the, sorry, this is the 0th index of column. This is column, right? If you don't know, the vertical thing is column. The horizontal thing is row. Okay. So mobile number is here, right? So which column is this? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So the index number for mobile number column is 5. So that is what we have stored. We have defined one variable index mobile number, and we have told our script that the index is 5. Then for consumer ID, the index is 6. For HTTP status code, the index is 7. For consumer ID, customer ID, it is 8. DOB 9. Error code 10, 11. Like that, we have given for test case ID 0, right? Test case ID was at 0. So we have just defined the index number, okay? Hard coded the value of the index number in our code, okay? Now we are reading the values now. We have kept everything ready, okay? We have created seat instance. Now we have our variables to store the values. Now we have to actually read the values. So how it will read? We will create, because there are several rows in the context, right? There are 9 rows. And we have to run our scenario step. We have a scenario step, right? This is our main step. This is our main step. We have to run it with each set of data one by one in iterative mode. First, it will run with these 2 values, then it should run with these 2 values, then it should run with these 2 values, and it should go on till the end of the sheet, right? So for that, what we have created, so this is a iterative step, for loop. We call it as for loop. In for loop, what we have done is we have created one local variable. Local variable, it is accessible inside this for loop only. The start of for loop is from here, curly braces, and it will end where we will close the curly braces. Okay. Here. So what we are doing is we have created, so the loop should start from 1, and how many times it should run? How many
9
times
times.
our loop should run?
9 times.
9 times. So we had already read total test. What is total test? Seat dot get rows minus 1. Seat dot get rows gave us how many? 10, right? And we have subtracted 1. So the value inside total test is 9. So our for loop, we are starting from first row, we are going till ninth row. You can see less than or equal to, right? This condition, till this condition is true, till that time only our code should get executed. As soon as this condition becomes false, like the total test I value becomes 10, it should fail because 10 is not less than or equal to 9, right? And I will keep on increasing after every run. So first, for the first iteration, it will go as 1. It will check the condition, whether 1 is less than total test or not. It is, right? So it will run the whatever script is written inside for loop. And when the end is reached, again it will come here. It will increase the value of I. Then the second iteration will start with I with 2. Again, this condition will get checked, right? If it is true, it will run the script within the for loop. Same way, it will go till, suppose it goes till 10. So for I is equal to 10, again it will go here, check the condition. Now this condition is false because total test is 9 and here you are saying I is equal to 10. So it will be false. This logic is false. So your execution will stop there. You got it or not? The function of for loop? Everyone clear? Anyone has any question?
Plus plus once again.
I plus plus increases, okay? So here you have given I is equal to 1, right? If you will not give this thing, if you will delete this thing, okay, what it will do is every time it will go and check infinite number of times it will keep on running. Sorry, it will only run for first loop, right? I is equal to 1. Again, it will go I is equal to 1. Every time it will come I is equal to 1. It is not increasing, right? So you have to increase the value of I every time, right? For every iteration.
So if it is not there, then it will only give the result of the very
1.
first
Only for
one.
first row it will run. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Got
Got
it?
it. Yeah.
And if you will not give this value, this logic, suppose you deleted this, then what will happen?
It will
It will
not do
keep
anything.
on running for infinite number of times.
But Sailesh, why two pluses if it will be just one plus, or is it the
So it is
scripting
not
language we need to follow that?
in a scripting language. If you have to increment something, it is plus plus. If you have to
Oh,
decrease something, it is minus minus.
okay, got it,
Otherwise, it will be
got it,
treated as concatenation. You remember
got
I told you to
Yeah.
concatenate, right?
it. Right.
We were concatenating the values here, right?
Okay, yes, got
Right.
it.
So
That makes
same
sense.
thing cannot be used for two purposes, right? So you
Yeah,
need
yeah,
something special.
got it. Thank you.
So just a simple question over the head.
Mhm.
Like, would we have to write this code when we do the actual coding? I mean, the testing.
Automation. Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
you have to.
Yeah.
But this is very simple. Okay. And the same script you will be using for all the APIs.
So
So
like if
once
we
it is
change the
done,
project from project A to project B, if we move, is it possible to just edit the data in there and like edit
yes,
the rows and fields? So like if we can keep any
yes.
of these, any of
So,
this as like the Bible, like,
so
and
see,
use it over and over again.
if you are good in a scripting, you can script anytime. If you are not good in a scripting, save it somewhere. Okay, save it somewhere. And by the time you will be using it fourth time, fifth time, everything will become clearer. Okay,
Yeah.
because right now you are seeing all this thing for the first time. Okay, but believe me, if you will try it, okay, if you will try it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, from 6 times you will feel like it is nothing. It is very simple. I have not done anything, man. Okay, I am not using this thing in my current project. I am using much enhanced version of the scripting, okay? But I have used a very basic scripting so that you will understand. Till now, I have done nothing. I have just read one file, read the Excel sheet inside it. Inside that Excel sheet, I can do it in one step, all these three. But if I'll do that, you won't be able to understand what I have done, okay? So this is a very basic programming that I have read the file. I have got the Excel workbook from there. From that workbook, we have got the sheet, right? Very simple, right? Do you think it is very complex?
It's quite easy. Like it shows the direction, first of all, where to go, and then what all things to target. So it's
Yes.
easy.
And see, on if we will use the another API, right? It is possible that for the next API, the number of fields will be 3 or 4 fields must maybe there, right? Instead of mobile number, there can be customer number, account number, anything else, right? So based on that, you will change the name of these variables, right? These things
Yep.
will keep on changing, but the logic will remain same. The way you are reading the workbook, file, sheet will remain the same, right? The way you are getting the number of test cases will remain same. Only the names will differ, correct?
Absolutely, it makes sense.
Yes. So what we have done is we are using for loop for iteration. We are iterating, right? In iteration wise, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? In iteration mode, we are running our test cases, right? Because we are not going to do it manually. Our script will do the testing, right? Our script will do the testing. So we don't have a luxury to pass mobile number and consumer ID every time. So our script should read from Excel sheet in iterative way. So to implement the iteration, we have many other ways also, but we are using the simplest one, for loop. Okay, it is simplest to understand. There are other ways also, do while, okay, other things are also, but this is the simplest to understand. Okay, the code itself speaks for itself that I is starting from 1, I will go till ninth row, right? And it will keep on increasing till this logic remains true. I is less than or equal to total test. What is total test? 9. So till i's value is 9, this condition will be true. The code inside this for loop will keep on executing. The time this logic becomes false, the execution will stop. Till your By the time your cursor reaches here, it will stop, right? Anyone has any question? You need to understand this, okay? If any question, please let me know. I will try to uh, give you some simpler logic. Everyone clear?
Shailish,
Yes.
one quick question. So if we add more data to our Excel sheet, will
Mhm.
it still go through all the rows because it has
Yes,
the total test? Yes.
yes.
Okay.
That's what your this code is doing. You are
Mm-hmm.
getting the number of, you are not hard coding anything, 9 or 10, right? You are going
Yes.
inside your seat, you are getting the rows, dot get rows. So if you have written something here, so it will get you 18 rows, 19 minus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
right? So this is
Yeah.
dynamic. This is dynamic. We are not defining 9 or 10. It is actually going to your seat and reading how many rows are there. Correct?
Yes.
Let me delete all this. Okay. Anyone, anything else? Okay, all right. See, I have already done this thing in the last class, but I want you to understand this. That's why I'm repeating this thing again, because it may look complex for the people who are new, okay? But try to understand, okay, and practice it. Again and again, I'm telling you that practice it. I'm available till Wednesday. Practice it. Call me anytime, message me anytime. I'm available for your help. But please learn. Otherwise, all the effort put by me, I feel it went wasted. Okay. Okay. So now we are reading the values. So we have already defined a variable mobile number. Okay. This is mobile number. So now we are reading the value and storing it in mobile number. What we are doing for the first iteration, okay? For the first iteration, when I is equal to 1, seat dot get cell index mobile number. What is index mobile number? 5, right? 5. And what is the value of I? What is the value
It's
of I?
one.
1, right? So at which cell it will fetch the data from? 5, column number 5, row number 1. That is how you read the data from Excel, right? When I ask you what is the value, what is the address of this cell? What is the address? F2, right? F2, right? This thing, right? So column number plus row number. That is how you read, you tell the address. Same thing, right? Same thing it is doing. Index number 5, column number 5, row number 1. For a script, it is row number 1. Because everything starts with 0 in a scripting, okay? So it will go and read this data and store it in mobile number variable. Again, for consumer ID also, we will do the same thing. Seat dot get cell at 6, 1, column number 6, row number 1, and get contents. We'll go there and get the content from here and store it in consumer ID variable, which we have defined here. Same way, we will read HTTP status code, customer ID, DOB, error code, error description, test type, TC ID, and TC name. Okay, same thing I have done for all the variables, right? I'm doing the same thing, right? Seat dot get cell index error code. Index error code is what? 10, right? Index error code is 10. So 10 at 1. So what is 10? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. This is column number 10. What is at 1? Nothing, null. So it will store nothing inside that for the first iteration. Okay, same thing for 11, error description. Nothing is there. Column number 11, row number 1. Nothing is there. So blank will be stored here. Test type. Index test type 1. What is index test type? 3, right? What is there in the 3? This is 0, 1,
Test type.
3, and 1 positive, right? See, in Excel it is showing 2, row number 2, but for a scripting everything starts with 0. So this is the 1 for a script, okay? So it will go and store positive, right? So now we have read everything from here, okay? Whatever was needed to execute our test case and to validate. We have read everything for the first row now. We are still inside our for loop, okay? The first iteration is not over yet. Now what we are doing? Passing the value from current test step to iteration properties, okay? Where is our actual step which will run? Scenario, right? This is our REST API, right? Which we have to run, correct?
Yeah.
But where we have read all these things? Inside Groovy. So you need a mechanism to pass these values to scenario step, right?
Yes.
Mobile number and consumer ID will be passed where? To scenario step, right? Here we have to pass. So what now we are doing is we have created one more iteration data step. Okay, we will keep it blank. Just create one properties. How we have created? Right click, insert step, properties, and give it a name, iteration data. Okay, it will create one more property file. So this is same way we have created, the way we have created properties file. Just we have renamed it as iteration data. Now we are passing the values to iteration data. What we are doing? Test runner dot test case dot test steps. So test runner is entire test runner. Okay, whatever is running inside this test step. So first we are calling test runner dot test case, right? So what is our test case? Automated test step case, right? Then we went inside test steps. And which test step we went into? Iteration data. And now we are setting one property. You remember earlier we read from the property. How we read from the property? Context is expand, right? We were reading from the properties file, the name of the environment, the name of the Excel sheet, right? Now we are writing into a property file. So to write the property file, this is the syntax and it will remain same whenever you need it. Test runner dot test case dot test steps, then pass the name of the test step, right? And then set property value. So we want to give the name of the property as test case name. And what we are passing here?
ID.
TCID. TCID we read from the Excel sheet, right? Remember? This is our variable where we have stored the TCID, correct? For the first iteration, what is the TCID? TC001.
TC001.
Then what we are doing? What is this? Concatenation. We are adding.
Concatenation.
Yes. What we are concatenating? Underscore. This is a string value, right? So that's why we are passing inside double quotes. Remember here while printing, I told you log info. If you have to pass the string, you have to keep it inside double quotes, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here also we are doing while setting, we are giving TCID plus underscore, now plus again another variable. What is another variable? TC name. What it is reading? Test case name, right? What is the test case name?
Success underscore.
Success underscore case one. So this thing will give you TC001 underscore success underscore case one. Okay, and it will get saved inside this step. Same way, we are saving consumer ID and mobile number. You got it? What we have done? It will create three properties inside iteration data. Okay, and it will save the values whatever is running inside this for loop. So right now the first iteration is running, so it will save the value from the first row, these two, the identifier and the value. It will set here, okay, before running the main step, right? And now what we will do? We will run our main test. How we are running? Test runner dot test case dot get test step by name. Okay, this is a function. Okay, and which step by name? The name of the step is scenario, right? Dot run. So this is a syntax to run the test case from another step. So this is a Groovy step, and from there we are calling this scenario step. Correct? Got it, right?
Yeah.
Anyone has any confusion or any question?
Can you run the case and and then we can
Yes, I'll run
getting
it.
the result so that it'll make things more
Yes,
clear.
I will run it. Okay, I'll run it. So before running it, you have to parameterize. So right now here, the blank value is there. Here, hard-coded value is there, right? So now you have to read the properties. How to read? I have told you already. Dollar, curly braces, inside this, name of the property, name of the property step, right? Iteration data, has, right? And name of the property, mobile number. Same way, here also, dollar mark, curly braces, inside this, iteration data, hash mark, and then consumer ID. Now we are good to run this test case. Okay. So let's close it and let's try. I don't know that it will run or not because while typing I may have made some mistake, but let's try. Okay. So it is saying that the source file is not found. Okay, so there must be something. Okay. Okay, so that because the name, this file is saved, not saved inside the demo folder. Okay, so that's what it is saying, that it is unable to find the file itself. So see user Sally string FWIC training, and it is directly searching for data, right? Because this is the first project. This is not the demo project, right? First project is not saved here. So that's why it is not able to find it. Okay, so let me run it. Okay, let me run it in the demo folder. Then you will be able to understand how it runs. Let me minimize this. This is the same project which I have created inside the demo project 01. Same steps are there. Just the name of this one. Wait a minute. Data source I have renamed it as main script. Okay. Don't get confused. It is also the same script which we have written here. Okay. Same script. See, it is the same script, right?
Yep.
Yes. So let me run this. Okay. So it ran. So see, scenario is running 9 times. See, can you see that here? So now if I go, so instead of iteration data, the name of the step I have written as assertion status. Okay. Don't get confused. That only the name is changed. So now if I'll open it, see, no, sorry, not this one. Iteration data is already there. Iteration data. So see, now these 3 properties are created here, right? And because I have run it 9 times, so that's why it got the data from the 9th row, right? Let me run it for first row. Let me run it for first row. How to run it for the first row only? This for loop will keep on running till this logic becomes
Remove the
false, right?
plus.
So either don't do plus plus or run it only for 1, right? Earlier we were running it for total test. Total test value was 9, right? So instead of 9, let's run it for 1 and let's see what happens. So it ran only 1. Now open the iteration data and see which data came here.
First one.
TC001, right?
Yep.
So that is what is happening. Okay, for the first iteration it will run the scenario with the first test case data. Again it will go to the second iteration. Again this data will change. Again this data will change. Now let me show you. Let's close it. Let's start our iteration with I is equal to 2 and here also is equal to 2. Okay, and let's run it. Now see the iteration data. See what is the value?
Test case 2.
So I am breaking the for loop in one iteration and I am showing you, right? Now when we were giving it I is equal to 1 and here total test. Now can you visualize what must be happening inside? It was running 9 times, right? Going into the for loop, setting the iteration data values, running the scenario. Going into the script, setting the iteration data, running the script 9 times, right?
Yep.
That's what for loop is supposed to do, right? It is supposed to run it for 9 times, correct? You got it or not?
Yep.
Okay. So where we have ran the scenario with this step. So scenario is ran, right? What we have achieved? What we have achieved? When you will run it, let me run it one more time. Okay. We ran it. Okay.
The results in iteration data.
We ran it. Okay. Now, if you will open the scenario, what it will show you? Only the ninth iteration it will show, the last iteration which it ran, right? Right? How you will validate? What we received in first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, where are those data?
Is it in raw?
Where?
Raw?
Raw? No,
Like below HTML?
no. No. This step contains only one last run results, right? So what was the purpose of automation? We ran it 9 times, but we were able to save only the last run result.
Maybe we can put another line of code to that.
So we have to keep on validating, right? Run first iteration and validate the response. Then go to the step 2, right?
Hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So that is what we are doing now. So for that, what you have to do, you have to read the JSON response, correct? Till now, we have read only Excel sheet, right?
Yes.
Now we have to read
JSON response.
this JSON response. What is the value of result? What is the value of source? What is the value of code? What is the value of description? You have to read this. So we have created one object, response extract. Give it any name, doesn't matter. The main thing which matter is JSON slurper. You remember we had imported JSON slurper at the top. This is a ready-made library for you, and you can use any function defined inside this. So we have created one object of JSON slurper. Okay. And now what we are doing is scenario response. We have created one variable, and now we are reading the scenario response. How we are reading it? Context.expand dollar curly braces, go to scenario and read its response. Okay. It has properties, right? It has properties. If you will go to scenario, click on scenario. Okay. We clicked on scenario. Let me minimize all the other things so that you will not get confused. When you click on scenario, can you see at the bottom there is a properties? If you select any test step, see the properties are there, right? At the bottom. Can you see it or not?
Yes.
So when you go to scenario and click on properties, custom properties, see these many default properties are already there, right? For scenario. So one of those was response. So we are reading that now. Okay, context.expand, scenario, and response. And we are saving it inside one variable. Now, your response has two parts. What are those two parts? One JSON body and header. Remember? You remember this thing? 400, 200, 204, 404,
Yeah.
I don't
500.
know.
Yeah.
So these are the headers of your response. And this is the JSON body. There are two parts. We have to validate both of those, right?
Yes.
Right. So first we will read the headers. Okay. So again, we have created one variable response headers. And again, we are reading context test case dot test steps where name is scenario and dot test request dot response headers. Don't apply too much mind to understand this. You can, if you are not able to understand, just copy paste somewhere in your notepad and you can keep on using this. This command is not going to change anytime. This is the way to read the headers. But when you read the headers, it is very simple. Okay. You are reading the scenario, we are going to a test request, then you are getting a response of it, and now you are getting the headers. But still, if you are not able to understand it, just memorize it, okay? Or note it down somewhere. I also don't remember this, okay? I also do Google all the time when I have to script it. So, third thing, so header has many data, right? When you went to headers, it is not only having the HTTP status code. It is having HTTP 1.1, 401, unauthorized, right? Content types, server, right? A lot of things. But what you want to store? Status
The
code, right?
code. Yes.
401, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you have to cut that value from the headers, okay? So now what we are doing is we are creating another variable, the status, and from response headers, we have already read the response headers. From there, we are getting the status. Okay, this is the syntax for that, to read the status. And the status also now it will come as 401 unauthorized. Okay, it will come as 401 unauthorized. This is the status. The complete status is this thing. Okay, this is the status, complete status out of headers. These 3 lines were headers, and out of that, this was the status.
Yeah.
Now you have to cut 401 from here. So again, we have created one variable and we have ran from a status, cut 1 to 5, and what you have at the 0th index, you cut that and store it here. No need to try to understand it. If you will try to understand it now with the current knowledge, you will get confused. Just remember this. This is the way to cut the status code. Note it down somewhere. You will understand it when time will come. When you use it for 4 or 5 times, you will start understanding it, how it is doing it. Okay. Now, all these things. So now you have the response. Now you have the status code, right? Now what we are doing is we are creating a object of JSON response. Everything went as a JSON response, right? Now we have to extract it, okay, as an object. So what we are doing is response extract. What is response extract? The class which we had, the object which we had created for JSON slurper class, right? So now JSON response is equal to response extract dot parse text. So everything will be passed as text, a string, okay? And we are passing scenario response there, okay? So now it will store everything as a text, okay? The entire JSON was in different format, right? See, it had 4 or 5 lines. So in the script, everything will be read as a text, okay? No colon mark, nothing. It will not interpret anything now, okay? Everything will be stored as a text. That is what we have done in this line. We are parsing the JSON as a text, okay?
Yeah.
Now, what we will do, now the real validation starts, assertions. We have created a assertion error array, okay? What is array? Anyone knows what is array?
Where
If you have
we
to,
can store multiple values
correct,
of
okay?
same time, same type.
Yes, yes. So, but people who don't know, okay, suppose you have to store one photograph in your home, what you will do, you will keep it in a leaf, right? One leaf. But suppose if you have multiple photographs, where you keep that? In album, right?
Yes.
With
Yes.
multiple leaves, correct?
Yeah.
We used to have CDs, right? So I used to purchase CD folders for multiple, storing multiple CDs.
Mm-hmm.
That is how you store the multiple things, right? Anywhere. You must be having your entire folder of degrees, right?
Yes.
You keep many things in that same folder. So this is nothing. For now, you can understand this is one array which I am defining to store many things at one place. Assertion error is the name I have given. And this is just a bracket, okay? The big bracket.
So
Blank.
it's like a folder of errors.
Sorry?
So it's like a folder of errors.
Yeah, not of errors. It is, suppose, think of it as a folder, okay? Folder
Okay.
to store the
Okay.
things, okay,
Okay.
of same type. We have given the name assertion error because we are going to use it to store the assertion errors, okay?
Okay.
You
I
can
see.
you can use it for any purpose, storing
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, storing ABCD, okay? Anything you can store here, okay?
Yeah.
Wherever you have to store more than one thing. For storing one thing, what we had? Variables. Variables for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Storing one thing, we had variables.
Yes.
It will store only one value at a time.
Yeah.
Array will store multiple values at a time. You can keep on adding different values. in comma separated format. Okay. Now, if test type is positive, remember we read the test type from Excel sheet. Remember from Excel sheet we read the test type.
Yeah.
So if the test type is positive, if the test type is positive, what we are doing, don't read these things. I am just logging, means printing, for printing purpose, I have written this. You can remove all these things. Okay. So if test type is positive, if test type is positive, what I am doing is if a status code is not equal to hyphen exclamation is equal to means not is equal to. Okay. In a script, is equal to is equal to is equal to. Okay. Let me tell you that. Okay. That is an important thing if you are not from a coding background. Is equal to is used for assignment. Okay. Assignment operator. Okay. And is equal to is comparator. Okay. If you have to compare anything, whether this is equal to that or not, you have to use double is equal to. If you're assigning any value, then only you can use single is equal to. That is what we have done, right? We were assigning the values is equal to, right?
Yeah.
And if you have to compare anything, you have to use is equal to is equal to. If you have to do not is equal to, this is the operator. Exclamation is equal to is meaning is not equals. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is if in normal English also the meaning of if remains same, like in scripting, right? If you will attend my course, you will learn SOA testing, right? The meaning of that, if you will not attend, you will not learn, right? Simple. If, not if, right?
Yeah.
Simple sentence. If, and inside the condition. If a status code, now what is the status code? We have read the status code right here, the status code, right? If a status code is not equal to HTTP status code. Now, what is HTTP status code? We have read this from Excel sheet. We have this value already, right? In our variable.
Yep.
We had defined one variable, HTTP status code. And we have stored the value from the Excel sheet. For the first iteration, what was the value? 200,
200.
right? If test type is positive, go and check whether the status code received in JSON is not equal to what we have in Excel sheet. If not equal to, then add one value in assertion error. What is assertion error? The array which we have created.
Yeah.
Right? In that array, go and add this statement that HTTP status code received in response is not expected. If it is not equal to, but if
Yeah.
it is equal to, do nothing, right? If
Yeah.
this statement is correct, then only add in assertion error dot add. Okay. Correct. So if this condition is true right now or not for first iteration, if it is true or false, test type is positive. We went and checked this condition. Whether a status code, what is the status code?
200.
No, what is the status code received? 401.
201.
And what is expected?
200.
So whether this condition is true or false?
False.
False.
True, right? Not equal to.
Oh, yes, true.
If a status code 401 is not equal to 200, this is true. It is not
Yes.
equal to, right?
Yes.
The values at both the sides of this operator are not equal to, means it is true. If both the values will be same, then it will fail, right? It will be false.
Yes.
So if it is true, it will go and add this statement inside our assertion error array. Okay. Again, if JSON response. Now, what is JSON response? We have stored the entire JSON response in a variable JSON response, right? Now JSON response dot customer ID. What is JSON response dot customer ID? So let me run it for the first iteration. Okay. Let me run it for the first iteration and show you now. How to run it for the first iteration? Just replace the value with 1 and run it once. It will run for only one time. So now see, JSON response, the entire thing is JSON response dot customer ID, means the value of this value, right?
Mhm.
This is a key value pair, right? This is the key, this is its value, right?
Yeah.
Key value, right? The left hand side keys will remain constant. The values will keep on changing based on what input parameter you are passing, right?
Yeah.
So we will read JSON response dot customer ID, right? So what we have done now, if JSON response dot customer ID is not equal to customer ID, means customer ID is what? We have read the customer ID from Excel sheet,
Yeah.
right? So we'll go to Excel sheet. We'll see 050811, right?
Mhm.
Whether our script is matching, means our response is matching with Excel sheet or not. 050811.
Yes.
So our condition is true or false?
False.
False, because it is now equal. Very good. Okay. Operator we are using is not equal to, right?
Yeah.
But it is equal to means it is false. So it will do
Yeah.
nothing. Nothing will be added to assertion script, assertion error now. Right?
Yeah.
Correct. So now date of birth. If JSON response dot DOB is not equal to DOB, again, JSON response DOB, what is that? JSON response DOB 15-08-1986. Okay. And what is the DOB, which we have read from Excel sheet? This we have read from Excel sheet. What is in the Excel sheet?
Month and year.
08-1986. So now whether this condition is true or false?
It's true.
It's true because it is not equal to, right?
Yes.
So now this will also get added. Not the value will not get replaced in this array. It will get added. So earlier we already had HTTP status code received in the response is not expected, comma, DOB received in the
Mhm.
response is not expected. Got it?
Okay. Yes.
So two defects were found and both were captured at once. So no need to, if I will add only one, so again, if you will test again, you will find one more defect, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we have created an array and we are keep on adding all the assertion errors there. Now, if test type was positive, then this thing happened, right? This curly braces means it was inside if statement. Else, if test type positive is not the case, right? Right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Then what will happen? If it is not positive means what are the chance? What is the another chance? It will be negative,
Negative. Yeah.
right? So again, we will go, the first statement will remain same for a status code, okay? A status code we have to validate anyway, right? For the positive test case also, for negative test case also, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for negative test case, now the mobile customer number DOB will not come. What will come? Error details dot code, right? So what we are reading, JSON response dot error details dot code. I will show you that, okay? So now let me run it for the third iteration, or let me run it for the entire iteration, okay? Because the last row is negative test case only. Okay. So now let's see negative test case. Are you getting any customer number or date of birth? No. Inside
No.
the entire JSON response, we have one array, right? See, error details is an array, right?
Yep.
Error details, inside error details, we have code and description. See, this key and value pair were very simple. Result, value was authorization error. Source, security gateway. But error details don't have any value, right? Simple value, right? For error details, the value is inside this curly braces. And it has again two values, code and description, right?
Yeah.
So how to read the code? JSON response dot error details dot code. Okay, that will give you auth 1001. You're getting it or not? How to read the JSON?
Yeah.
It's very simple. Okay, just concentrate. Try to understand this. JSON response dot error details dot code. And if that is not equal to error code, now what is error code? We have read from the Excel sheet. Error code for the ninth row. We are into ninth row. Go to ninth row. If and see. Let me freeze the top row first. Okay. Give me a moment. So view and fridge top row. Okay. So now, so this was our test case and iteration, right? So what
Yeah.
is the error code? Auth 1001.
1001.
And whether we are getting that?
Yes.
Auth 1001, right? So the statement is true or false? If a statement.
False.
It is false because they are equal. So nothing will get stored.
Yeah.
Same thing will happen for description, right? So our validation is done. Our validation is done, right? Now we have to
Mhm.
pass or fail our test case based on whether the expected response was received or not. When our test case will fail? When we are not getting the required result,
Yes.
Same
right?
value.
Right? So
Yes.
we have to predict now whether our test case failed or passed. So what is the indicator whether our test case failed or passed? Anyone? We have stored all the failures inside assertion error, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the size of this array is more than 0, means you have some defect.
Yes.
Your assertion failed, right?
Yes.
If this is blank, means no defect found, right?
Yes.
Everything worked as expected, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that is what we are doing in the next step. If assertion error dot size is not equal to 0, if it is not equal to 0 means more than 0, right?
It failed.
Right? So what we will do is we will save one assertion status. We will create one assertion status property again, and we will set a value test result as failed. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And we will set one test assertion, test failure reason as entire value inside the assertion error array. We will parse it as a string and we will pass it to the properties like this. Okay, so this is for the positive test, means for a test case where everything passed. Okay, so test result is passed and test failure reason is not applicable because for passed there will be no test failure reason, right? But if anything fails, the entire assertion error array content will get printed here.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
And if not is equal to 0, then this will happen, failed. And else means if this condition is not true, means
Yes.
assertion error size is 0,
Yes.
right? Then it will save the values as
Pass.
passed and NA. Got it?
Yeah.
Right? So our assertion is complete. Okay, our assertion is complete. But now still, are you able to see the pass or fail every time you will open? Because at once, if you will run it for the 9 iteration, this value will also keep on changing for first row, second row, third row, fourth row, and you will be able to see only the last iteration result
Yes.
at the end. That means you have to store these values somewhere, right? So the 90% of the thing is done in your testing and automation. Okay. What you have done, you have created properties file, right? You have created the script to read the Excel sheet, store the values from the Excel sheet, right? You have passed into the scenario, You have captured the response and validated also against the
Yeah.
expected response, correct? The only step left is
Report script.
report creation. What your stakeholders will ask for? They are
Report.
non-technical guys, right? They are non-technical guys, right? They will ask for, give me the result. I don't know what assertion result you have stored, what you have done. I want a human readable format of my test result. What failed, part, what passed, and right?
Yeah.
Everything they want in a readable format. So you have to write one more script, same Groovy. Everything will be same, what we have imported. Just earlier, we were reading from the Excel sheet. Now you will be, what you will be doing? Earlier, you were reading from the Excel sheet, right? You
Mm-hmm.
were reading from the Excel sheet, workbook and sheet. This time, you will be writing to the Excel sheet.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
So,
Okay, can I just interrupt just a
yes,
second?
sure.
Yeah. So if we were reading from it,
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds stupid, but
No,
then that
no question
where
is
did
stupid,
that
man. You
data?
go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
I'm sorry, but where did that data come from?
That data came
So
from.
now, yeah, okay. So now, like going back all over in the loop, it feels like it's getting a bit confusing.
So this
Uh,
data we have created, right? We have written the test case. That was
but
from
with
the
the
first.
manual testing,
Yes, for the manual testing, we had written the test case,
okay.
right?
So anyway, we'll be doing the manual testing,
Manual
and then
testing,
we'll
you cannot be skipped. The first round of testing will always be manual.
okay.
This automation will be used for regression. Okay, corporate insists for automation because once manual testing is done, you moved out of some other company. You got a very good hike. You left the company, right? No one knows what you tested now.
Okay.
Suppose 5 months after 5 months again some enhancement happened in your company, right? For the same API, they will
Mhm.
ask, can you run the test cases first, whether everything is working as expected or not before doing the enhancement? How they will run? You are gone now.
Okay.
How they will run? They need automation suite.
Yeah, so that now it makes sense that when company looks for manual testers and those who can run the automation. Perfect. Yeah.
So now companies needs only automation tester. Manual testing is a default testing which you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
See, means the entire world is running towards automation, but manual testing will never lose its importance. No machine can replace human beings here. No machine can replace your intellect. You
Yeah.
remember on the first class why I insisted more on risk analysis?
Yes.
Do you think any automation can do risk analysis?
No. Well, I think now it makes more sense, like connecting the dots together at the
Yeah.
end of the course, near
So,
the end of the course.
so that's why I requested you all to show some patience and listen to the first 2 days of the session. Okay. That was theoretical, but very important. Okay. Everyone thinks that he can become a tester. Okay. And no institute, whether in India, Canada, US, will teach you like this. Okay. They will directly tell you, you have to write test cases, you have to do this, you have to do this. Very few instructors teach that, do the risk analysis. Okay. If you will not do the risk analysis, there is no difference between you and the automation tool.
Yeah.
Okay. And company will start feeling that, what is the importance of this Mr. XYZ? My tool can do that. People all the time complain that automation is killing all the jobs, right? It is not true. People themselves are killing their jobs because they are running, they are pretending to be machines, right? They are not applying their sense, their intellect. If you will apply a proper risk analysis, you will give your value to the company, right? That I am doing a risk analysis, I am finding the errors at the right time, right? I'm putting the effort at the right place. You will never lose your value. Got it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, my client for which I work, it is US based, okay? It is US based. My manager resigned from the company. My manager resigned from the company. They could have hired someone in US, right? They could have hired someone from US. But they asked my company to send me to US. They filed my H1B. It got rejected in lottery, right? Right. I was not at all interested to come to US or Canada. I was very happy in India. I'm having a very good business and job, everything in India. They offered me 1.5x of my salary, and they forcefully sent me here. So that is the value you have to create for yourself, and that value will only you will be able to create that value only when you do some out of box work, right?
Yes.
That's what. Okay. 2 more minutes. Okay, so we have overshooted already, 18 minutes over the time. So just overview of report creation, and we will again have one more class on Wednesday. Okay, and that will be our last class. Okay, report creation, and then I will tell you what to do after the testing. Okay. So this is report. I have already told you how to import, right? These things we have imported, and then we are creating a simple date. Okay, current date. So this is a date class. So we are creating a date object for this, and we are creating a variable and creating a format for date. Okay, like in this format, mmddyy, hour, minutes, seconds. Okay, to read the current time, system time. Okay, we have created this. Again, the same Groovy util which we had created in our last Groovy. Same way project directory we have created. Same way we have read the environment. Data folder also same, but only difference is instead of data, now we are going into
Reports.
report subfolder. So what is report subfolder? We will go to solution, FWIC training, demo, reports. Reports. So I have already ran this few times. That's why you are able to see the report. But the report will look like, let me open one more file. Let me close this first. So I have saved it in a template as well. So let me open the template and I'll show you. So you have to create one file like this. Just 2 more minutes. I'll come back. Okay. So I have created, let me increase the font. So for report, what you will need? You will need the test suite name. So what is the test suite name? Get customer info. You will have multiple APIs to test, right?
Yeah.
So test suite name. 1 minute. Test suite name. Then environment name. In which environment you have ran it? In SIT, right? So you want to capture that. At what time you executed the test case. So that's why we have created an object for date. Then the name of the test case, TC001 underscore success case 1, right? Then the raw request, entire raw request which you used, the entire response you have received, test case failed or passed. If it is failed, what is the failure reason? How much time it took to respond? The request took how many minutes, microseconds to respond? So these are the major metrics which stakeholders are interested into. So we will create a Excel sheet with these name, okay, these headers, and save it in the report folder. Okay. Only headers. Okay. Nothing else.
So the information is not texted manually, right? It is automated.
Automated.
Okay.
So
Okay.
first time when you will do the manual testing, you are supposed to save it in a manual form, manually also. Okay. When you will be doing the manual testing, you have to save it somewhere in
Okay.
Excel sheet, in Notepad, somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Because suppose you have tested and again it started failing. So you should have some evidence that I had tested and I have saved the response, right?
Yeah.
Remember I
And
had,
sorry,
sorry,
the response time, how do we check that?
response time when you run any test case in SOAP UI. That's why I'm telling you to practice it. Practice it, navigate in SOAP UI, then only you will come to know about all these things. So let me run this. Can you see here response time?
Yes.
280
Okay.
ms.
Mm-hmm.
The size of the response as well, 195 bytes,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
So you remember when the first time I told you about manual test cases, right? This test cases we have wrote, right?
Yeah.
So actual response we were saving, right? You remember? While
Yes.
doing the manual testing also,
Yeah.
right? Because you should have evidence of all the test cases, so that if anyone comes back and saying that you have not done a proper testing, this thing was missed, you will show that at that time I have tested and everything was working fine. Someone must have done something with the code, right?
Yeah.
Be it manual, be it automation, be it whatever kind of testing, always save your response.
So we save these as our personal files or in a common folder in a like.
First in your local system, and once
Mhm.
the testing is done, you have to move it to the central repository, for which many of the companies use either GitHub or SVN.
Mhm.
Many version controlling tools are there, right? Unfortunately, I don't have uh, that much time and the resource to show you all those things. Okay.
Mhm.
But if you are really interested, okay, if you are really interested, you can call me or ping me anytime. Okay. I will show you how to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Everything depends on your interest. Okay. If you have interest. So now my daughter is forcing me to end the call, okay, because we have some other things to do. So just give me 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. I just want to show you the report creation once, okay? Okay. So see here, instead of data, we went to the reports folder, and same way, earlier we were reading data source.xls. Now we are reading the test execution report.xls, right? It is the name of the Excel file in reports folder,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Again, what we are doing is we are reading the workbook inside that file. The same thing what we did last time, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But from here, the things will change a little. Delete these things, you will get confused. We are creating one reference copy. And what we are doing is workbook dot create workbook. And inside that, we are passing the file address. Okay. And the reference of workbook. So what it is doing is copy is a temporary file, which it is creating inside the script and writing everything in that. Okay.
Mhm.
And in which seat it will write? What is the name of that seat? You remember this test execution report? What is the name of the seat?
Details.
Details. Can you see that? Here at the bottom of the Excel sheet.
Yes.
Details. So we have created the seat reference as well. Okay. Then the same way we got the get rows, right? There also we had got the number of rows. So right now there is only one row, right? The
Yeah.
headers.
Yeah.
Then we have created a writable cell. I will tell you this thing in detail in the next class. Just see it for now, okay? And this project is already uploaded in Google Drive. You can open and try it, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So we have created a writable cell and one label we have created for our use, intermediate use. And through these scripts, we are just writing the values of assertion status. See, what we are doing is we are going to column number 0, row num is equal to 1, right? Because row num, what is row num? It is going and finding the number of a row, right?
Yeah.
It is right now 1,
Yes.
right? 1. So what will be the number 1 in our Excel sheet now? Let me open that Excel sheet again. What is row number 1 as per the script? This one.
Header.
No,
Yes. Okay.
for the
Yes.
script it
Yes.
is 0. We
Yes.
have found the number, right? Number is only 1. Total number of rows is 1. But what is the index number? The index number is 0.
Yes.
And now 1. So here we are
Mm.
writing. What we are writing? At the 0th column, first row, test runner dot test case dot test suite name. It will get the test suite name from your script, which is ts
Mhm.
underscore get customer info, and it will write it there, right? It is writing it here. This is the commands for writing it. Okay. Same
Yeah.
way for column number 2, 3, 4, all the things we are reading and writing into the report. And at the end, we are writing and closing the sheet. And the final result will look like this. Yes, this is the last thing which I'm showing. And after that, we will disconnect the call. Okay, I have a huge pressure from my daughter. Okay, so let me show you that. Just one more minute. So let me open this. Okay, it will not open because the same name folder is open already. So let me close this. Don't save. And now open it. So it will, the report will get printed like this. Can you show this? The passed one is saving in green color, the failed ones in red color for reporting purpose. How I have done that, I will tell you in the next class. So for now, I am stopping the sharing and stopping the recording on YouTube. So bye everyone. Anyone has any question, can I stay on the call?